Hi, welcome to Campus Conversations. I'm Bill Pink, president here at Ferris State University. And today's conversation for me is very exciting because our conversation today is talking about our first generation students, those students who are the first generation in their family to go to college. And we'll talk more in a little bit about the definition of what first gen, as we call it, is all about. But today for this discussion, I have a couple of our students who are in our first gen program, also our director, a man who makes a lot of the magic happen as far as our first gen population is concerned, and the support that our university provides for first gen students. So the way I want to start out with this conversation is asking my guests to introduce themselves. Our two students will tell you who they are, where they're from, and what their majors are. Dr. McCall, which we'll introduce in a second, will tell you a little bit about first gen and what that means to us here after we hear the introductions. So first of all, I want to start out. Give us a name, where are you from, and what is your major?
Yeah, so my name is Leanna Moody. My major is finance, and I'm a senior. And then I grew up in Jamaica for most of my life, but I've lived in the Petoskey, Sheboygan area.
Awesome. Welcome. Glad you're here, Leanna. Dr. McCall, please.
Sure. So Dave McCall, I'm an associate professor in developmental curriculum, now interdisciplinary studies, which is in the University College, and then help to oversee the First Gen initiative here on campus.
Great. Thank you, Dr. McCall.
My name is Simone. I'm a social work major. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Yeah.
Good. Good to have you guys here today. Simone, Liana, glad to have you a part of this. One of the things that happens quite often when it comes to this term of first gen is that so often we have so many different definitions of what that means. So Dr. McCall, if you would, share with us a bit from a Ferris State perspective, how do we look at and how do we define that student who we would call first gen?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there really is no federal definition of first gen. There's no real clear definition. So what we did is we kind of took where most universities start, and we decided we wanted to be a little bit more inclusive. So we define first gen as a student who comes from a family where neither parent has graduated with a bachelor's degree from the United States, because we know that education system here in the U.S. is different than the education overseas in other places. So that was kind of the first little nuance we added. And then we also wanted to add the second part, which I think is really what makes our definition special, and that's and/or any student who just kind of feels a little, has that unfamiliarity of the higher education system. And so we really, again, wanted to be as inclusive as we could with our definition.
And I think it's so valuable that we have that defined parameter, that we say, here's what that first gen population exists and who they are and what they are to our campus. I want to start right there, and Leanna, I'll start with you, because one thing that Dr. McCall mentioned is that we know from a first gen standpoint, many of our first gen students have various challenges as far as just getting acclimated to that whole thing called college. Talk to me about what were some of those, what I would call early struggles that you saw as a first gen student, a new student here at Ferris State when you first came. Talk a little bit about some of those struggles that you may have seen.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your question. So when I came to Ferris, I was actually a transfer student. So I transferred from North Central Michigan College. And by just going to that college, I was able to figure some things out. But then again, I was here on campus, something new. And a lot of the things, I really struggled in the beginning because I didn't know how to sign up for classes. It was my first time signing up for classes, and yeah, I knew that First State University was probably gonna have something similar to what the college at the time had, Bright Space at the time. You guys had my FSU, well, First 360 right now. So I know it was gonna be something like that, but still I had to figure out how to sign up for classes. And again, coming in as a transfer student, I didn't do orientation or anything like that. So I didn't know, I didn't write out of COVID too. So I didn't know where anything was on campus. So I had to do a lot of research, just finding maps, and just knowing my advisor, didn't know much about her, didn't even know how the transfer credit works. So a lot of the things I really had to figure it out by myself. And with that too, I didn't even know who to ask for help. But I think at the time, I wasn't as outgoing as I was before. So I felt like some of the times I didn't even want to ask for help because I was like scared that I was gonna be looked on like differently. Like I don't really know how to sign up for classes. I don't know what is an RSO, like what is all that. So I felt like those questions were like questions like most students would know, and I thought that I would be judged for it. So I didn't even want to like ask for help. So most of it I really was just like me struggling on my own and struggling to figure things out.
Yeah. And I would say pretty common in that regard of some of the things we hear when first-gen students first hit campus. Simone, I'll ask you the same thing. Talk to me a bit just from coming to campus, coming to college, first time. Talk to me a little bit about what were some of those small barriers or struggles that you saw early on in that journey?
For me, my story is a little bit different from Liana's. It was the whole process of coming to college in itself was hard for me, as I didn't do that great in high school, so it was hard for me to find a college that I wanted to go to. I selected a college, it didn't work out, and then I found Ferris State, and I applied like 2 weeks before school started, and honestly, ever since I applied to Ferris, it was easy for me. Like, it felt very easy, it felt very simple. I got the call, they were like, "You're accepted," and I'm like, okay. And they were just so excited, and it was so nice, and that's really how it went. Like, my whole freshman year, I didn't used to ask for help in high school. It was easy for me to ask for help. The first gen initiatives, like, they were so helpful for me. I didn't have that much trouble registering for classes or getting around because, I don't know, it was just very simple. And I think being here at Ferris, it made it easier for me. Like, my story kind of switched becoming here, so.
It's so interesting to hear in terms of just the levels of support. And I want to come back to that here in a little bit to talk about what some of those things are. I'll ask you, Dr. McCall, in listening to their reactions of some of those struggles, I'm curious of what you hear from students who are in the first gen program. What are some of the other struggles that you have been able to see and that we've been able to really even help students with?
Yeah, I think they both hit on some great examples, and the term that comes to mind is hidden curriculum, and that's kind of how we phrase it, is all of those things that students don't even realize they don't know how to do because they don't know that they need to do them in the first place, as part of higher ed. So registering for classes, figuring out your rooming situation, the meals, all of those just kind of hidden things that are, make it difficult sometimes for students to succeed above and beyond just their typical academic classes. So those are some of the things that we're trying to help with, breaking down some of that higher education jargon. Higher ed, we love our acronyms and our abbreviations, and so we try to break some of those things down and try to also educate our faculty and staff on those things. So when they're creating a syllabus, here's some things that you can include in your syllabus that may make a little bit more sense to most of our students. And what we really try to say is, if we look at everything at our university through the lens of a first-gen student, we're really doing what's best for all students. It's kind of that universal design for learning. And so that's really what we try to emphasize. And then really just how can we support and how can we celebrate our students? Those are kind of the two words that I like to continually use to think about what supports do students need, and how can we help to fill some of those gaps, and then how can we help to celebrate their success and achievements as well. Another term you'll hear oftentimes with first gen is imposter syndrome, and that kind of feeling of, I'm here, but do I really belong here? And we want them to know that they do belong at Ferris. And so we try to take some pride in, giving them a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging at Ferris. And so that's really what we try to focus on.
I love that, and some of those specifics in pointing out things such as that idea of support and celebrate. I think that's so good for our students to be to hear and to know our parent here. I want to go back to just talking about experiences here. So Simone, I'll start with you on this. So we talked a bit about coming to Ferris and now being here from a first gen perspective. So Simone, talk to me a little bit about now that you're here. What has that looked like for you this school year, and this actually since you've been at Ferris, about some of those things that you say, man, I love it that we have this, or here's how that journey has been for me so far. What are some of those wins that you feel like you've seen as a student here at Ferris so far?
I just feel like there's so many opportunities here at Ferris State, especially, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I know it's not just me, but like as a first-gen student, working with Dave McCall and all of the other first-gen work group, I've had so many opportunities to become a student leader. I've never been a student leader. I've never wanted to be a student leader, but coming here, I've had so many opportunities even like that, like to work in certain offices and meet so many people. Like I was a orientation leader this past summer, and it helped. I feel like being here at Ferris, I've had the opportunity to grow. I feel like I belong, you know, like you were saying. You want first-gen students or all students to feel like they belong. I came here and I felt like I was at home, you know what I'm saying? Meeting so many different faculty members who are like in certain places, like, wow, I'm talking, like, even now I'm talking to you, Mr. President Pink, like, wow, like, this is like, it's like, seriously, like, so many different opportunities, so many different wins to help other students, you know, talk to them about their experiences and how they can, you didn't think you could get here, but you can, because here I am, you know, so,
Good for you. And I love the fact of how you mentioned really that idea of how you've connected and really getting connection to the university, and aside from just the classes you're in, that the other pieces, we see that those other pieces play such a big role in our students who come back and finish, because it's not just about the class, it's also about everything else.
100%.
Leon, talk to me a bit about that. What have been some of those victories and some of those things that you say, you know what, this is, and I love what is one, I mean, it's one of our new pillars in our strategic plan as a university, that idea of belonging. Talk to me about what those things have been that have helped you in that sense of belonging.
Yeah, so one of the reasons, let me like retract for a bit, but one of the reasons why I chose First State University is because I thought that I would like, you know, like saw students that look like me, that I would belong here on campus. And then as I mentioned in the spring semester that I started, it was very hard for me. Like I really struggled. But I think like after like that semester, I kind of like made a vow to myself that I was gonna go there. I'm gonna try to be more outgoing. And that's actually how I got like involved with like First Gen. I was like, okay, I'm gonna run for the vice president from the get-go. I don't think that was like a good transition from someone that was like super shy, but it was like going right into it. And ever since I've like made that decision to be a part of like First Gen, being the vice president of First Gen, it has like led me to like so many like different avenues. Like I was like the president of First Gen, then that same fall, that's when you invited me to go to the gala. And that's when I met like one of my first friends here on campus, and then she led me to like the Hispanic Latino Cultural Center, and then that's where like a core group of my friends are. And then through it, I've been able to get like so many opportunities. I was able to win like the Ferris Foundation scholarship last year, and then now I'm a part of like the Student Alumni Gold Club as well. So I feel like, I have to echo what Shimon said, like I've had like so many opportunities for me to like grow here on campus. And anytime anyone asks, I'm like, it was rough in the beginning, but now I love Ferris, and I'm actually like feeling that belonging that I have. But yeah, so yeah, I got involved, and I feel like I see you a lot now too. But
So sorry about that.
yes, but yes, definitely. See, there's a lot of opportunities, and I'm glad that I made that like step. You know, it's definitely a hard step to take. Like, hey, you're gonna go outgoing. You're gonna try to put yourself in all these different RSOs, do all these different things. But I do think afterwards it pays off, and you feel that reward.
I want to hit on something that you just said, Liana, for both you and Simone, because you said, you know, what it meant for you to step out. Talk to me a little bit about what was that? What was that, whether it was something or someone or just something internal, what was it that caused you to have that, that courage, if you will, to step out, to go ahead and say, you know, even from a standpoint of if I'm, you know, as an individual who have few to maybe not very many people or anyone in my household that I grew up in that is college graduate, whatever. But here you are at college, and when students come to school, that's only a part of it when they get here. That next part is, do I engage, and how do I engage as a student, rather than just sit in my dorm room or residence hall, just go to class, go back and just sit and do nothing in my room because I haven't gotten that. What did it take, or who did it take for you to say, no, I need to get this done. I need to do this. Liana?
For me, because during spring, as I said, that was a point that I was struggling, and then I've this like motto to myself that I can't complain if I'm not doing anything. So I'm like, okay, I'm going through all these things. I'm not getting the help. I can't find the resources. I'm struggling. But at the time, like when you tell someone about that, they kind of feel a bit weird because they'll ask you like, did you go here? Did you do that? Like, what are you doing? And then that was like something that I had to reflect on. Like, I'm having all these problems. How can I fix it? How can I solve it? Like, what am I doing? And that's why I'm like, you know what? I'll try. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, and luckily enough, I tried. It was very awkward in the beginning, just going to events by yourself. But after going to those events by yourself, you start seeing and picking out these like familiar faces, and that's how you make those like, connection.
That's good.
So that was it for me.
That's awesome. Simone, what do you think? What was it what did it take for you to get that impetus to step out?
It took me. It took myself. Like during COVID, I'm gonna keep talking about COVID because that's like, I feel like that was a really transformative time in my life. I feel like in middle school I was social and I was outgoing. Elementary school I was social and outgoing, but when I got to high school it was like 1,000 kids, and I'm like, and then we were online. I feel like I kind of lost that social aspect of myself. So when I got to college, I'm like, I know who, like inside, like I'm actually social. I actually love people. I actually want to be around people. I'm a social work major. So that's what I did. I joined different RSOs. That's my friend Maya. That was my first friend here on campus. Manny, like doing all these things, getting out there, showing my face. And I think another thing was showing other people that they can do it too. Because I was always the person who felt like I couldn't, especially in high school, I couldn't do it. Yeah. Just down on my luck for real. And so that's like, I just wanted to like let people know, like, you see me, like, I didn't think I could do it. You can do it. I think I said that last time too, but that's really like what it is for me. The internal part of it, like, I knew I could do it. Wanted to tell myself that I could, and for the other people who feel like they can't do it, that you can. So. That's so good.
That is so good. So let's talk resources. I'm going to start with Dr. McCall on this because I love the fact of how much our university truly tries to help students be successful, no matter what their background is, no matter what their present situation is. We have different pieces across campus, resources, things that are meant to be helpful and supportive for students. So our first gen program here at Ferris State is one of those strong resources when it comes to our first gen students. Dr. McCall, talk to me more about just the vast resources that are available as far as through our first gen, and some of those wins that we've seen, I know through grants and other things that are great stories. What do those resources look like?
Yeah, so we started this back in 2019 with just the idea of recognition, right, and recognizing our first-gen students, and then I've kind of built on it. And every year I feel like I say we're kind of at our peak or our max. We're not going to be able to do a whole lot more, and then every year we just seem to add a little bit more to our plates, which has been fun. So we really try to focus, like I said, on the celebrations for the students and the support for the students, of kind of bringing some of that social aspect and getting them to engage, because we know that how important that is to their success, right? Meeting new friends, making connections, and we never know where those connections will lead to. I've had students who have gone to events and made a connection with someone whose father is involved in some, career field that they're interested in. It leads to an internship or some sort of connection. So those things for students are just so important. We also, we try to provide financial supports or educational kind of academic supports when we can. So we have things like our first-gen school supply library, right, where we provide basic school supplies to all first-gen students free of charge. They can go get what they need at any time. And the cool thing with that is, and one of the things we're trying to do is expand some of these resources to our off-campus sites, to our hubs and to Kendall. And so we have those libraries across the state for all first-gen students to access. And so little things like that. We have a first-gen mini-grant program, we call it, where if a student needs a little support to maybe buy a winter jacket or some books or whatever it is, they can apply for a mini-grant. We also provide laptops now as part of that mini-grant program. I mean, how many times have I seen my students trying to do their work on a cell phone and say, hey, we got something for you. We can help you. This will be a little bit better than a cell phone. So we try to do things like that. And you really, part of it too is just educating the campus, so students, faculty, staff, about what First Gen is. And I think one of the big things that sometimes gets lost is our First Gen students are rock stars. I mean, these two especially are, but all of our First Gen students, sometimes we think of First Gen from a deficit mindset, and man, that is the farthest thing from what these students are. They are the best problem solvers, the hardest workers. They're creative and they're finding solutions to things. So we try to also bring that kind of shift of mentality from a deficit mindset, thinking about First Gen, to more of an asset mindset. So I'm sure I'm missing so many other things. We do things all throughout the year and semester. Last year we started doing final exam wellness bags, so just little kind of bags that we gave out at the end of the semester. And the work group, we have a first-gen work group of faculty and staff that are also rock stars, and we couldn't do any of this without them as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful with the amount of resource and attention that we provide for our students. And I'm curious with Liana and Simone, as Dr. McCall just talked about those resources, curious as to, when you think about the First Gen office, what would you say are the thing or things that you say, well, this is something that I receive, this is something I do as far as First Gen is concerned, as far as the First Gen office is concerned, this has been one of the best resources for me. What would you say that would be, Simone?
I would just say the people and how accessible they are. If you need something, even if they don't have it, they know somebody who do. Like just being their availability. Like, I need help. I need this. I need that. Oh, I don't know. I can't help you, but I know somebody who can. Yeah. I think just that, like the people, like you said, so many great people, so many great resources within the work group. That's what I would say.
That's good. Leanna, what do you think?
And then for me, I would say it's like the RSO, and it could be because I'm like, that's the one that I've been in. Like, when it started, it was not many of us in it. Like even like before, when I attended like a meeting with the earlier president, it was just me and the current president of it. So I feel like for that, every year we like learn something, and we do like events, and if it works, we have it work. So that's been like something like a core thing for me. And then it's that connection again, like having those like members, just like going out. Last week we have our pumpkin carving, and it was like so fun because it's something that we've been doing it. And then I think this is the third year that we're doing it, and the turnout was like just so great. So like now when you're seeing it from the beginning and like seeing where it is, it's always like so good to see. One of the other things too is the First Gen library, the First Gen supply library. The first semester I didn't utilize it, but after I learned about it, it's a really good thing to use because like you're going to classes, you're gonna have to buy these textbooks anyway, but you're getting these like textbooks and like these resources for free. So I think that has been like a huge help to me as well.
That's so good. So one other question for you, for both of you, and then I'll ask Dr. McCall to also answer this one. So let's say that folks who are watching this right now, let's say that you've got students who are either looking at coming to Ferris, who are First Gen, or students who are already here at Ferris, but have not found the First Gen office. What piece of advice do you have for that student who is thinking about trying to get into this thing called college and to really get in and acclimate? What piece of advice, you can give a couple if you want to, I'll give you two if you need to. What piece of advice would you give them if they were listening to this right now? Liana, what would that be?
For me, I think one thing I would say, and I think I was even like telling Jaden this last week, that it's okay to ask questions. And number two, it's okay if you don't know. You know, like there's no need to feel ashamed, especially here. The faculty and the staff, or even the students like myself, we're here to help the students. And as Simone said, sometimes I'll have students come to me and I don't know the answer, and I'll like shoot David or even Cindy a message like, can you figure this out for me? So it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay if you don't know. And I don't think like anyone is gonna like judge you if you don't know. As I said, they're here to help you. And then if they are judging you, it's shame. Shame. Because they shouldn't. But those are the two things I would definitely say.
So good. Thank you. Simone?
The first piece of advice I would say is you have to be willing. I feel like first step is yourself. You have to be willing. I would say be willing and ready, but like Liana said, you won't always be ready. So just be willing. Second piece is to look for it. Look for opportunities and look for resources, because they won't always come to you. You have to go out there and you have to look for them. And when you find them, be willing and be ready to like go for it.
So good. Dr. McCall.
Yeah, I'll try to paraphrase some words from our founder, I guess, and that is, we're here to help you if you'll let us, right? So I think that's a big thing, kind of echoing what the student said here is, don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to reach out and get involved, to utilize the resources that the institution offers. I think Ferris is a great place. I'm a graduate of Ferris myself. I'm an alumni of Ferris, and so I'm a Bulldog through and through, and just love everything about what this institution is and what it stands for and how it was built. And to me, Ferris is a great place because it offers all of the great things of a large institution, but in a much smaller, more intimate setting, where you're not sitting with 300 other students and you're not just a number, but you're one of us. You're a Bulldog. So I think to me that's one of the biggest draws for Ferris is top, absolutely, some of the best programs in the nation, and some of the best. Our students go out and compete in these competitions, and I just love seeing that. They compete with these huge institutions, and we bring home a lot of top prizes. Yeah. And here we are, but we offer all that, but still in a great, intimate environment of class sizes. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
One quick thing, ladies. So, social work, finance. What are you going to do with that degree once you're done? What's the goal?
Help everybody I can.
Help
everybody I can. Older people, elders, children. I just want to go out and just change the world.
Awesome. Change the world.
Love that. And then for me, to be honest, I'm the complete opposite of Simone. I am still not sure, and I'm still like trying to figure out. That's one of the reasons why I chose a finance degree, because I feel like there's so many things I could do it. So I'm gonna try everything until I find like what I love in it.
Well, I can tell both of you, ladies, you need to know your university is incredibly proud of you. And I look forward to hearing what, after that graduation happens, I look forward to hearing what that life is, because as our founder, Woodbridge Ferris, used to say, being a Bulldog is about finishing at Ferris State and going out and making the world a better place. And that's what I think the both of you will do. With mentors like Dr. McCall in this program, big thanks to you for what you do for this university. This is awesome. Thank you guys for today.
Thank you.
And thank you for being a part of Campus Conversations. This is fun conversation, only one of many that we love to have. Appreciate it, and go Dogs.